Silicon Valley, technology, art, green, and sustainability.
Welcome to Silicon Valley, Tech, Art, Green, and Sustainability. Today I have a guest with me that I'm honored to have with me that's not only doing what she does best in law, but she's thinking about writing a law or starting a law that would really help a lot of people, and that's what this is about. Sustainability goes back to helping people. So Magnolia Copenhaver.
Copenhaver, thank you.
Copenhaver.
Hi,
I keep
Heather.
wanting to say Copenhagen.
Hello.
Hi, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So it's really it was a pleasure to meet you, and it's, you know, you're a great lady, and I'm honored to meet a lawyer who's interested in helping others. And, you know, tell us a little bit about yourself, a little background.
Thank you, Heather. I went to school at UC Berkeley. That was my undergraduate. I majored in analytic philosophy. Then I went on to study law at University of California, Hastings College of the Law.
Which is a great school.
Yeah, I think so. My alma mater.
Where is Hastings?
Hastings is in downtown San Francisco.
Okay.
Near the courts, near the Court of Appeal, California Supreme Court.
And how long ago? Was that a long time ago? Or because you look so young. So.
I've been practicing for about just over 8 years now.
And, you know, when I met you, I thought, oh, she's like, must be like 21 or 22. Did you graduate when you were 10?
You're my new best friend.
So you went to law school, and then, you know, before that, you went to school for something completely different.
Well, philosophy is you know, I think people who are interested in philosophy, it's a natural background to have for law, because we're curious about ideas and society and how to make it better, what works and what doesn't work.
So you're doing what you love.
I'm doing what I love, yes.
And had you always had law in the back of your mind when you went to school for the other then, or?
Not exactly, no. But it soon became apparent to me that that is the calling that's right for me, helping people, and the type of law that I tend to practice tends to be protecting people's civil liberties, protecting people's rights, individual freedoms, and making society a better place to the extent that, you know, one person can. That certainly has been my goal.
Now, doing my research, of course, I went to LinkedIn and looked at where you looked before. Did you work for the court systems, or where did you work before?
So
right out of
school.
Mm-hmm.
So right out of school, I ended up working for a general practitioner, Dinosaur, who was one of the last few people who actually, you know, could take the cases that walk through the door, regardless of their area of law. So due to that training, I am...
so you had very diverse training.
Completely. I got thrown into 300 cases that were in almost every area of the law.
Wow.
And I didn't know better at the time. I didn't know that this isn't standard practice. Lawyers specialize. And so that's sort of what I did. And from there, I had so much courtroom experience, working for this attorney who's since passed away, that I started my own practice. I was on a couple panels, juvenile dependency panel, Contra Costa County, and also in the criminal panel in Contra Costa County. I also did some civil work. And from there I went to Marin County, Mill Valley. I've had a law office in Mill Valley for about 7 years, where I've done a lot of juvenile dependency. For a while I was representing almost every child in Marin County, every conflict child in the dependency system. At the same time, I did other types of law, DUI, civil litigation as well.
And again, did you work in the courts before too? Or?
So
I can't remember exactly what I read online now, but I probably should have written it down.
It's okay. No, I work for myself.
Okay.
But I was a contractor with the state of California for a good 5 years.
Okay, interesting.
Well. Yes.
And was that investigative, or?
It was actually lawyer work, trial work.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Have you always done law? What did you do before?
I've always done law.
Okay.
Always done law before I was a student, but mostly this.
Yeah, and we know how that goes when you're a student,
yes.
right? I think I had 3 jobs one semester at San Jose State, and that found out really quickly that doesn't work very well.
Right, exactly.
If you want to get your classes completed.
That's true.
So tell us what type of law you do now.
So now I do DUIs. as well as some civil litigation and a little bit of the juvenile dependency, but primarily civil litigation, and within criminal law, I've narrowed it down to DUI law.
Let's pull up the first slide right now, too. And I think this is a great, it's a photo of you. It looks like at a law library. Great
Yes.
photo.
Thank
and we
you.
can pull that down. So now you work in San Francisco and the entire Bay Area then?
I do, yes, Bay Area counties.
And take us through the process then. If
Sure.
somebody gets caught drinking and driving, and I'll tell my little story later on. This is a real personal issue for me, not because I've been caught drinking and driving, and hopefully, the laws will change so that people can, find out, oh, am I over the limit? So, and that's one of the reasons that you're here, which is great. But so tell us what the process is. I've never been through the process. I know people that have gone through the process, but
Certainly,
Yeah.
certainly. So initially there's a traffic stop. A police officer will pull a car over if he or she has probable cause, if the car is swerving. DUI related is usually swerving while speeding. So the traffic stop is basically the first stop, and at that point the officer will ask a series of questions. If the person appears intoxicated, we'll attempt to gather evidence around figuring out if the person is under the influence. Then if it turns out that the person is under the influence, after, for example, taking a breath test, a few questions being asked, then there's an arrest.
and what is the limit again?
0.08.
0.08.
Yes.
So a long time ago, it was like 0.1 something, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and then it changed. Was that 20 years ago? How long?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either.
exactly,
I think it's probably in the 80s is
Yes.
when it changed. So yeah,
Yes.
I'm pretty sure like 81, 82 or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So during the arrest, it's important for people to be cooperative. Certainly don't have to answer questions without a lawyer present. However, resisting arrest just adds to the problem. It's actually, it can bring on additional charges.
While you're going over that, I'm going to have them pull up a couple slides too.
Okay,
So
certainly.
okay, and this is it right here. We've got someone being pulled over. It looks like they're cuffing something. I can't quite tell what that is to a drink. You can pull that down. So
Okay.
that's the sobriety checkpoint, or they've gotten pulled over and they're doing.
Yes,
Yeah.
certainly. The next step is the booking. After a person's arrested, that's a way of recording the arrest. And so that involves being fingerprinted and photographed and all those horrible things that nobody ever wants to go through. After that, there is the process of the preliminary hearing. That's the initial hearing, in which the charges against a person are sort of presented. That you get a packet which sort of has the discovery, meaning what you were charged with, why, what the evidence is. It's the initial packet, and that's the time that a person can, say they're guilty or not guilty. It's the initial preliminary hearing.
So we'll pull up the next slide here. So now they're at court, and which nobody wants to go there, right?
Yes,
Unless you're a
absolutely.
lawyer, because you're getting paid. So we can pull that down.
Yes.
And I think most people have stage fright or afraid of speaking in public, and this is even a tougher situation. So having someone like you that can help them through that process, and really know the law, which is great. And then,
Yes, yeah. And then the next stage is the trial stage. Usually DUIs will never get to the trial stage. Hopefully it's settled by then.
why would somebody go through a trial stage?
Well, only if there's, for example, something wrong with the breathalyzer. I mean, if the person swears that they only had one drink, but it came up as a 0.07 and they were charged, which a person can be charged at a 0.07 depending on how they're driving. And so there are reasons, there are technical reasons, or perhaps...
Maybe one of those reasons are they're taking medication and maybe it made them seem like they were drinking and then they weren't.
Diabetics, for example,
Okay.
their blood alcohol is naturally elevated a little bit.
Oh, interesting.
So there can be reasons, or sometimes it's someone else that was driving, not the person that was charged. So there are reasons to take it to trial, but I think a good lawyer would figure out how to settle it before that happens.
Let's bring up another slide now, and you're probably going to talk about this. And I mean, this is horrible here. And there were some other photos, and we can bring that down. There were some other photos that were much worse than that, so obviously couldn't show that. And